Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name's Dave Goodman. Today I'm going to give you 10 top tips on how to do public speaking. So, first one was there before we even started. This is a bonus tip. If you say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, it tends to bring the meeting down. We want to get some energy in there. So if you say, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, it brings some energy and you'll usually get a response out of people. Next top tip is your audience. Who is your audience? So think about who it is you're going to be speaking to. So is it people that have never done this before? Is it people that have done this a million times before? Make your speech relevant to them. If it's a big variety, then try and get some of the basics in there and some of the more advanced things. Number 2 is prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. There's an old saying that amateurs practice until they get it right, but professionals prepare until they can't get it wrong. Which are you? It takes quite a long time. The best thing is actually record yourself and listen back, because that's your own first critic and it works really, really well. Third up is your dress and your stance. Are you dressed appropriately? Is it absolutely brilliant that you're wearing some Bermuda shorts and an I'm with stupid t-shirt when you're addressing a conference? Or is it the right that you're wearing a tuxedo if you're addressing students? So make sure you're wearing the right sort of thing. Now, I can't show you on this little video what I'd like to demonstrate, but there's a couple of bits about stance. If you stand full square onto people, then it shows authority. However, if you sort of drop down on one hip and move to one side, it makes you much, much more approachable. Next up, move with purpose. So if you start hopping around and moving about, it's very distracting for people, so stand still. If you're going to move with a purpose. So often you'll move with a timeline. So when you usually move, it's from left to right to go through a timeline. But when you're on the stage, it's got to be reversed. So if you're going to be taking people through a timeline, then move to your right. And you can say, this is where we start the presentation. This is where it all began. We then move on to this part, which is where we got to. And then we ended up at this point over here. Next up, PowerPoint. This is one of my pet peeves, is people who run PowerPoint presentations. They've just got tons and tons of text on there. What happens? One or two things. Either it's going to go up on the screen and half the audience just can't read it. The second one is that they'll read it and then they'll stand there looking at you, well, I've read all that, what are you going to do next? Another little top tip for PowerPoint is you just keep that down to 5 words on the PowerPoint. It should be there just to remind you what's the next thing you're going to say. The other thing is, if you're going to have a laptop, then have it in front of you so that you can actually see what's happening on the screen. You haven't got to turn around and point to the presentation behind you, because then you lose contact with your audience. One of my pet peeves is ums and ahs. So why do you and ah when you're public speaking? The reason being is that it's when your brain runs out of things to say, and you then have to stall to work out what you're going to say next. A great way to get around that is to actually just pause for a moment. Because when you pause, people mistake it for gravitas and take you far more seriously. Next up is a rhetorical question. So when you ask your audience a rhetorical question, then it really draws them into the conversation and they'll stay with you. Number 9 is, well, how do you take this further? Get up and speak wherever you have the opportunity to do so. One of my top tips is go to Toastmasters. This is nothing about wearing a red suit, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a public speaking club. You can turn up and you can just look. They'll give you teas and coffees, you don't need to say a thing, but they'll take you through a very structured process, and you learn by helping others. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time. Are there any questions?
Yes. Hey, what about number 10?
Number 10. Number 10 is any questions. When you're doing a presentation, you don't want to get to the end and hear any questions. And there's silence. Nothing happens at all. There's just tumbleweeds going past you. So have a stooge in the audience ready to ask a question that takes you on to your final point. So I hope those 10 top tips are really helpful for you. My name's Dave Goodman. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.